Hey everybody, this is Brad from Johnson Small Engines, better known as the one-handed mechanic. If I can do it, you can too. Today we are working on a Ariens. This is a Zoom 1640. That basically means it's a 16 horsepower engine and a 40-inch mower deck. And today I'm going to show you how to test the starter while it's in the machine, and then we're going to also bench test the starter. So this will help you guys out if you ever have, if you think you have a starter issue, you can go ahead and give us a quick test, and I'm going to get right into it here. I'm going to go ahead and take this cover off because it is bolted. I'm going to take it off right now so you guys can get a look at the engine and the starter. This is the starter right here, and I'm going to remove this red boot so we can actually get the test light on it. And it's going to be a little bit tricky for me to do this because I have to be on the other side to start it, to crank it. So I'm going to try to lay this on here, and maybe I can just put the boot over it. Now, if you see that glow, if that glows when I turn the key on, the key to crank, yep, we actually have a bad starter because all the 12 volts is going to the starter right here. So we have a bad starter. Let's go ahead and take this starter off, and we'll bench test it to confirm it. First thing you want to do to take the starter off is you want to make sure you disconnect at least the negative side of your battery. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the negative side. And I'm also going to disconnect the positive side because, one, it's just a little peace of mind. But two, this terminal's dirty. Probably going to put some new hardware on there and clean up these terminals. I just want to show you that we have two. They're actually going to have shoulders on them, but they're just two bolts right there, one there and one there, and they're just a large Torx that will take them off. Then you come around and we have, then you come around here and we have to take off the fuel pump, or at least get it out of the way. And there is a bolt right there, which is a 3/8, and then there's the other one on the other side right here that we have to get off. And then that should be able to bring that up and out of the way. Okay, so I took off the 7/16 socket that I was using for the battery, and we have it's a T45 that takes off those two bolts in the front. So we're going to go ahead and take this off. Now, you can just bring them out. You don't have to necessarily take them off. You can tell that there's it's like a U shape that's cut out the bottom, so you don't have to take those bolts all the way out. Then we're done with that one. I'm going to go ahead and take this fuel pump off out of the way. And some of you guys that don't have fuel pumps won't need to take it off because you won't have it. Just be careful you don't drop. It's always good to have a container to hold all your parts. Like this. I had one long one and one short one. Short one up here, the long one went down there. And then this will just drop off to the side. And then we have 3/8 here, and we should have one right here. I'm going to try leaving these in. And they may have the slot. I can already see them. They should have the slots. Yeah, there's a slot. So this should just pick up now. Let me just see here. Hold on. Sometimes there should be a 1/4 inch bolt. It's right down inside here. It's a little dirty. Let me see if I can clean that up. You do not want to get debris inside the throat of the carburetor. We're there, that right there. We're going to put a rag there. Okay, so somebody must have been in here before. You see that hole? It's supposed to have a 1/4 inch screw in there that keeps this down tight. But this one did not have it. So this should come right off now. Just like so. Now let's get you around to the other side where the starter's at. Okay, so now I'm going to bring you in from the other side. And you can see the starter gear right there. And I'm doing this without my helper today, so just bear with me, and I'll do the best I can to give you guys the best shots now. One bolt is back there, and one bolt is right here. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get yourself a thin wrench, and they're usually 7/16. You may have to make yourself a wrench. I actually ground down, this is just a small wrench, and this actually fits. I think this is just an ignition wrench. This is an old Craftsman. I actually ground it down right there. Actually, both sides will actually work. Just to get it on the inside nut. You don't want to turn that inside nut at all. See if you guys can see that right there. So I'm going to put the wrench on the inside nut, and then it's counterclockwise to take off the outside nut. I'm not going to be able to show you this 100%, I think. Well, I'll hold that. There you go. This is one hand here. It's not much to get it loose. And once you have it loose, you just have to make sure that you hold the inner nut. Make sure you hold this inner nut right here so it doesn't move. If you turn that inner nut, you can ruin the starter. Now, granted, this starter should be bad, but just remember that when you put a new one on. All right, so that's out of the way, and that's off. If you wanted to do that while this was stationary, it's easier to do that way. Pan you guys back out here now. The two bolts, one's there, one's there. See if you guys can see that a little bit easier. There are, let me get a flashlight. That almost looks like it's got some, you might probably bend this out. Don't have really great lighting right here, but bend it out of the way a little bit. You just got to make sure when you put this back together again, this here, this has to go. This piece here, this goes up into your, when you put your plastic cover down, all right, you got these little fingers right here have to go up in it. So you don't want to bend this around too much, but we can manipulate it so we can get into that, to this bolt right here. Now that is a 1/2 inch socket that'll go on there, or you might even be able to get a wrench in there sideways, but I have had good luck with using a 1/4 inch shallow socket using a 1/4 inch extension. Now the flat spots on the starter gear right here, this flat spot actually helps me get a little better angle because the socket doesn't fit 100% on there correctly, but it's 99% of the time I've been able to get them off, except for maybe a twin cylinder. So now it's not sitting very flush. There it goes. There, I just got a good enough bite on that. And I always take off, now you can't come too far out. I think I might have came too far out because now I can't get the socket off. You only take it off a couple turns. And then there's also a Torx head on there, and I'm pretty sure that's a 30, that might be a 35 maybe. But then you can just unscrew it. And it's at a little bit of an angle there, but you can get it to come out. And there's the other one right here. We're just gonna go ahead and loosen this up. Actually, that was loose. That's kind of weird. I wonder if somebody was in here already. That was not that tight. And also it looks like somebody put a ground on the starter. I have not seen a ground wire behind the starter before on a Briggs engine. I think somebody put that on there. Yep, I think somebody having problems and somebody adapted, because that's why maybe this was loose. But yeah, there was the other battery. But here's our starter. I'm gonna go ahead and get set up, and I'll show you guys how I bench test them. Okay, so I just want to show you up here on the bench we have a very good battery. It's hooked on jumper cables, and the reason why I have it up there is I just want it out of the way. Now to bench test this, all you're doing is pretty straightforward. Just be careful if you guys are going to do this at home. But how I bench test starters is I will find a ground spot. Now you can use a ground strap here, or this one here. It's got a clean spot right here where it actually will ground to that grounds to the engine. And then this is where it gets a little scary because it's going to spark. But if the starter is good, this starter gear here should fly out. This will spin. And we got nothing. Okay, I think I have another starter here. I found a starter right here. It's actually, it's pretty much identical. And we're gonna go ahead and see if, and this is just one that I keep around just in case I need one. All right, so if we touch that, it should spin. Okay, Now if you watch right there, it's going to shoot out. And you see how quickly it did that? Okay, and that'll come back. Sometimes they stick, but that should fly back. Due to vibration and everything, and it's sitting, when it's in a machine, it's sitting like this, so they'll come up, and they just go back down to their position. That's all they are, that's how they work. But yeah, so now be careful if you have live. I'm gonna do this one more time, just to show you guys here, and you'll see it right there. Okay, that's a perfectly good starter, all right? We'll go back to this one, just to show you again. Grounded it, and go ahead and hit it. Nothing. So that starter is fried on the inside. I don't even get into repairing starters. There may be somebody out there that does, but I do not. We just go ahead and either sell them a brand new OEM Briggs, or I have had really good luck with aftermarket starters. So I'm actually gonna, since this one is identical, I'm gonna count the teeth just to make sure the teeth are the same. Back with my used starter here, I'm gonna go ahead and put it back in reverse order. I'm just gonna snug that up because I wanna make sure I can get the other one started, the other bolt started, before I tighten everything in. Go ahead and tighten that up. Tighten up the other side. It's tight. We're gonna go ahead and put our positive on. Gonna hold the inside nut, tighten the outside. A socket would actually be better for this because the positive cable actually gets in the way. All right, now let's see what happens. I don't have to put the shroud on to see if this actually works. Okay, so I put you guys up there so you can see me. I want to take this paper towel out of the throat of the carburetor, just trying to keep the dirt out, but you don't want to get it to suck in. You definitely want to put your positive on your battery first. So this is not permanent. This is not a finished product yet, so I'm just trying to diagnose the issue right now, so we're not going crazy trying to clean anything. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this up. All right. Okay, we are tight. Let's see what we got. Okay. Well, the carburetor looks full of gas. The engine's loose, I can tell you that. Can you guys see the engine actually moving? Okay, well, so that pretty much sums it up for how to diagnose a bad starter on a Briggs & Stratton 16 horsepower. This guy here may have a little more issues. I'm going to go ahead and adjust valves, but if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.